very good morning and welcome to The Voices, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. My name is Medina Azaki. The US strike did happen on Christmas Day, that's Thursday evening, but it left more questions than answers. In our focus, today we'll continue with our focus on the impact of the strike, and today we'll be looking at security. This and more when we come back after the break. Stay with us. Welcome back. I'm being joined by Zoom, via Zoom by Awal Musa Rafsanjani. He is the Executive Director, Civil Society Legislative Advocacy Center, CISLAC. Mala Rafsanjani, if you can hear me, a very good morning and compliments of the season.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
All right. Okay. What exactly are you hearing as far as the U.S. strike is concerned?
The U.S. strike has left with so many concern around issues of Nigerian sovereignty and even the democracy itself, concern around public trust and deficits, concern about the poor legislative oversight, and of course the consequences of this impact, which has to do with a lot of issues around the ability and the capacity of the Nigerian security to take charge and lead the people to secure the nation. And this, of course, as a result of, or rather, courtesy of security sector corruption, which has undermined the capability of the state to be able to do the right thing at the right time. Absence of prioritization of the safety and protection of civilians, as against political interest that has also, fueled the insecurity in the country with unaccountable money going into the security sector. So definitely, the airstrike has a serious, impact in terms of our ability to ensure intelligence coordination, for inability to tackle the issues of injustice, which sometimes the very reason why some people behave in the manner they behave. One, there's absence of justice, there's absence of good governance, there's absence of opportunity for people to live in decent life, with job opportunity. Of course, the security sector corruption. These are the impact of this strike that led Nigerians to lose hope and confidence in the ability of the government to be able to do the needful. So if we really want to overcome this, incidents in future, government needs to do the needful to address issues around security sector reforms.
Okay, we'll come back to what we need to do in the future, but let's go back to how the government has handled, the situation. The government said they had intelligence sharing, they had collaboration, they had long minutes of talk before the airstrike happened, and it was a precision, strike. So it means the government provided the information, and they also gave maybe location exactly as to where where these terrorists are. How would you rate the government, side as far as the airstrike is concerned? And why do you think Sokoto was a place to start from?
So it's sad that government is coming to make this pronouncement after the airstrike was done and communicated to the whole by America. If there was joint collaboration or coordination to carry out this airstrike, obviously it will not be in the manner in which the America had taken lead on this. This thing is happening in Nigeria. Nigerian government, if indeed there was a joint effort on this, should have taken charge. America would have only provided support, the needed support to be able to do the strike successfully. But in this case, America was the one that was in charge of everything. The strike was done solely by American government. The so-called sharing of intelligence and information, these are all aftermaths because the American government have decided where and when they want to do this. If Nigerian government says that they provided information and they did a joint, coordination on this, it shouldn't be just only the airstrike. Nobody has cited Nigerian army that will follow up the strike because when you do the strike, the possibility of some people running away, the criminal running away, will be there. And the pledges have also mentioned that there's so large chunk of movements of the bandits and terrorists and Boko Haram moving out, which means that if there was a joint effort, while the US is doing, airstrike, Nigerian armed forces will be on the ground to be able to ensure that they do not let these guys escape. That's number one. Number two, if Nigeria has actually provided the intelligence for this airstrike, how comes they provided intelligence to where many Nigerians live is not a priority areas where these terrorists are terrorizing people? Nigerians believe that American government carry out this operation, announced the operation, and just as a way of saving face, Nigerian government is now coming to own to the responsibility that they have done a joint work. Even if Nigerian government communicated, or rather have been communicated by the United States government, it is just merely information that they are coming and not that they are seeking their permission or approval. Because the opposite of approval is disapproval. Can Nigeria summon the government to stop America from coming to this strike? No. So if you are talking about partnership, coordination, it's supposed to be mature, relationship whereby you actually contribute, the other person contributes and decide and also be able to take ownership. The ownership of this airstrike was solely America. And that is why it is the American government that announced this strike. So either way, Nigeria must admit that as a result of the failure of the successive regime and the current regime to do decisively for the air security, they've allowed a narrative to come from foreign country, which is entirely also in many instances the narrative is also framing in a very anchoring way, because the narrative and the framing that American government was coming up with is about killing Christians, and therefore American government is coming to protect the Christians. So is Nigerian government not interested in protecting other people in Nigeria other than the Christians? Or is it that the other people have no voice or they have no right to live as citizens? So I think it is only fair that government takes a full responsibility for this and frame it in a manner that it is about Nigerian people, it is about human beings, not just one particular segment of the society, because the rest of the Nigerians that are also suffer from violence attack, like terrorists, they are also human beings and they are Nigerians. So, but because of the inability of Nigerian state to take active measures to protect lives and properties of Nigerians who are looking for help everywhere, and therefore, rightly or wrongly, they will welcome any foreign support to save their life, if at all they were going to be able to be saved.
All right. How do you think Nigerians are taking this whole, incident? You did say, it's a saving phase operation, but some people have said it is a broader agenda, to disintegrate the country through the northern part. Do you agree?
So, as you know very well, America will not come and spend its resources just to save their people. Just when American government decided to ban Nigerians from applying visa, they did not say a certain category of worshippers or region will be exception. It applies to every Nigerians, and that's how the America is also looking at things. So the truth is that there must be some interest. As we all know, Sahel is a very intense region for America. America is also interested in critical minerals, like the way President Trump has always put it. So if you have a corrupt leadership that does not care about its own self, and they don't care about the people, not talk about the territorial integrity of the country, you are likely going to invite, directly or indirectly, incidents like this, with a framing that will capture the minds of some victims. So, as far as I'm concerned, it is not out of place that at the end of the day, even the geopolitical politics of the powerful nations, namely China, Russia, and the United States, as well as European, which is another way of strangling resources of Africa. And this is the larger, idea behind some of these things. Otherwise, it is not really about saving anybody, but rather using an opportunity, lapses, to capitalize on that to justify coming. Just you should wait to see the eventual thing that will unfold. The America will definitely eventually station its army in Nigeria to take care of its critical minerals and also take care of the regional geopolitics in the Sahel. So it's not a joke. It's something that they have taken serious, and that's why they are investing their resources. They cannot come and do charity work for you. If it's about saving Christians, why is it that in Venezuela, almost all of them are Christians? In Palestine, in Gaza, churches and Christians have been killed. Why is it that they are not going to be saved? Their life being saved. So it's not about religion, but religion has been used to frame this intervention. And because you have a corrupt system in the country, that has been justified. And many Nigerians, who are victims or who may not know the larger implication, are celebrating this, especially those who think that they have no protection from their government. This is the thing. Nigerians have lost hope and confidence on the ability of government to protect them. So they are thinking foreign help will help them save their lives.
How concerning is the fact that, the issue you raised that it's all about them stationing their military in Nigeria and also protecting, the mineral resources that they want. How will this government, collaborate in that effort? Will the government allow them? Will they really allow them to station? Because they've been, trying to do that since 2014.
And because you have a government now that's is more of interested in capturing or retaining powers as against protecting the security of the country and protecting the people. This is the only opportunity that allows this kind of thing to happen. Otherwise, if Nigerians are protected and safe and they are proud of their government and the government is doing the needful, there would be difficulty in terms of any foreign power to come and justify the action they are doing. So it is really about the fact that the current leadership we have in Nigeria has misplaced prioritization of protecting its citizens and even the government that they are actually governing. Otherwise, we will not have this kind of thing. If you look at the politics in the country, it is all about capturing every space and perpetuating yourself in power at the expense of this larger important thing. Because if there's no safety and security, who are you going to govern? But unfortunately, the current leaders we have in Nigeria, they are not thinking in a deeper way, just like the previous leaders in the past, right from independence, have actually done. We dare not bring this kind of situation because the patriotism, the nationalism that was embedded in the past leaders is lacking now in the current leadership you have at various level. And this is part of the consequences of not prioritizing safety and security and your own country. Everything is like transitional now. Everything is commercial. So corruption can lead you to anything. When we talk about corruption, people underestimate what corruption can do. But this is here, it's a good example of how corruption has eaten up and undermined everything. And that even the power that you have, you will gradually, lose it with the corruption.
Okay. And everywhere the US decide to strike or decide to intervene, those countries ended up with more, insecurity, ended up with more crisis, ended up with more problems that they ever envisaged. If you talk about Iraq, Afghanistan, many others, are we likely to see that, play out as the US did say more strikes will be coming? Are we likely to see instability as far as insecurity is concerned and more chaos as we move on?
So the luck that we have in Nigeria is that both the Muslims and the Christians, that part of this agenda is meant to get them to be killing each other. They are gradually understanding that they dare not go and get into such kind of scenario because they have nowhere to go. They don't have another country, and moreover, even the US has now banned them from going there. For those who can even afford to, get visa or get tickets to go there. So the solution is to look inward and ensure that they all work to live amicably with justice and fairness. If there are anybody that is terrorizing anybody, irrespective of his or her religion, ethnicity, geographical location, political affiliation, if you are a criminal, you are a criminal and you should be treated a criminal. I think many Nigerians are gradually understanding that they have no option then to resist any attempt to pollute them. What I don't understand is whether the politicians are in that same page. Because if they are on the same page, by now, we have seen action taken unanimously by our political leaders. Since this strike happened, the National Assembly has not said anything. The president even left the country, and the Ministry of Defense did not even say anything. It was only the Ministry of Foreign Affairs that was left to be talking. Which, to me, it shows that there appears to be still challenges of communication. Nigerians are losing confidence that their government is not communicating with them fully, with honesty. And therefore, despite all this, ordinary Nigerians, are determined not to allow anybody to come and pollute them to be clean themselves. I think this is what I am seeing. This is the impression I'm having, in Nigeria now. Because Nigerians, they know that any foreign country is going to give them protection. No, any foreign country is going to give them food. They will not give them shelter. They will not really give them anything. So ultimately, it is their country that is their country. Even those who have moved to America, that they got the citizenship, got the green card, they are under threat. So this is also another pointer to the reality we have, that we still have to solve our problem internally. If Nigeria government have been serious about fighting terrorism, why is it that
Well, we have lost connection. Okay. I think
is it that we are lacking the personnel, or is it that we are lacking the resources? How many of them, these bandits and terrorists that we are talking about in Nigeria, with the massive resources that Nigeria is having? So it's just because of the corruption in the security sector and corruption generally in governance. That is the reason why, you see that. So it's an indictment anyway, in either way, for Nigeria to say that they have provided intelligence. So what were they doing? They know these terrorists are there, they know what they are, and yet they do not follow to deal with them. They have to wait until Trump, America, now say that they want to finish them. Then you now provided intelligence. It means that you are complicit.
Should the Nigerian military bury themselves in shame, considering the fact that they've not been able to do the needful? A foreign power is doing that right, in front of them, and it is also striking where they felt they gave information. The same Nigerian military that defeated rebels in Sierra Leone and Liberia are the ones who cannot, defeat a ragtag terrorist group across the country. Should they bury themselves in shame?
They cannot bury themselves in shame because they work under instruction. This is not a military regime, it's a democracy where they have to work under democratic control. So, and if the people that are governing the country, they are not, interested, or they are not giving them that instruction, the military cannot undermine civilian control. So they have to contain what they are giving. So therefore, you cannot completely blame the military, but you need to blame the political leadership, because the military can only act when they are instructed to act by the political or civilian that are in charge. So they are doing their best, but the political will is very limited to go after these people.
But you also said that corruption has also undermined our security agencies.
That's what I'm saying exactly. Because of the corruption, in the security sector, there's no way you can perform magic if the political leaders are the one to approve the budget, are the one to execute the budget, and the diversion is done, by them in collaboration with maybe perhaps or support of some of the people in the income, then what do you expect? So, as long as the political will is limited or is not even there, you cannot expect magic. Because if they do anything contrary to that, the civilian leadership, they will shout and say they have been disregarded, or they have been disrespected, or the army is not observing or rather following the control that is supposed to have them.
What?
This is democracy.
Okay, what is the broader implication on our security?
It's you can see it in our place, the motivation, demoralization, abandonment, frustration everywhere, anger everywhere, but they cannot do nothing under a civilian regime, because any attempt to do things contrary to that, it will cut them out being framing that you are organizing revolts against the constituted authority.
Mm.
And you know the consequences of that. So they are very mindful. Just recently, you saw how some of the army were accused of plotting coup. Rightly or wrongly, send a signal that if you do anything, we will deal with you.
Mm. Okay. Madam Rafsajani, very troubling, times indeed. The government has not handled the information very well. The president is out of the country, and as you rightly observed, the legislators and everybody is being quiet. Only the foreign ministry, is doing the job. The information gap is creating more suspicion than we ever think. In this scenario, what is going to play out, in the next coming weeks and months? What kind of scenario are we going to see?
I don't see any scenario that is coming outside from continuing with his bombardment. He will continue until he achieves his goal. He has a reason for coming in the first place, and that reason he will have to complete that mission. And because we do not have willing political class in the country to ensure that they prevent that from happening, you will see that which serious country will a foreign country come to bombard their land, and yet no statement, no coming from the number one citizen, not even number two, not even number three, not even number four. See, there's a problem.
I remember number 3, the Senate president said, who is he to respond to President Trump when the Christian genocide issue was being brought to bear. His response was that he is no way to talk to Trump. So we saw that from a number 3 citizen of Nigeria, and that is the Senate president. This is the first time that we'll be having a foreign country striking us right in our land, and more strikes will be coming. Do you think we will have an uprise in the country as we move on, when citizens feel that they are no longer, protected?
Yeah, but citizens are already in perpetual protest, but their protest has not led to any change in the way a manner government is doing things. You around when the NSAS happens, all the things that the protesters have complained about has continued to happen. The end by the governance protest, all the things that they have talked about, it has continued to happen, and you saw the shameless arrest and detention and prosecution of underage children that the whole world was lacking at us. That is the thing that you see Nigerian security are good about in many instances. But the truth is that, like I said, Africa and Nigeria is liberating for the powerful nations. So you have to crumble. Every one of them will now have to come and take their own game. Israel, the president of Israel, shamelessly, who has been accused and in fact declared a global terrorist and wanted, has the mouth to come and incite or to put mouth on this matter. That is to tell you how hopeless and useless our situation is, and that no Nigerian leader today has responded to Benjamin Netanyahu provocative statement on Nigeria. So more foreign powers are likely going to come and take their own shares in this country, because we don't have effective, patriotic, nationalistic leadership that will rise up in defense of its territorial integrity and in defense of its people.
Okay, while we blame the foreign powers, shouldn't we also blame ourselves and the people who went to this country, the people who went to the US and said there's a Christian genocide against, Christians in Nigeria? They did that, they got what they wanted, and here they are. They have even been banned from entering the so-called country that they felt will protect them. So is it not us Nigerians who should be blamed if we have an an administration that is not competent and an administration that doesn't even know what it wants to do? Shouldn't we blame ourselves for, starting the Christian genocide agenda ourselves?
No, you cannot deprive people from crying. Violence attack on communities, on churches, on mosques have been going on with less response from the state. So people have the right to cry out, to seek for help. If your government cannot help you, you probably assume that another government will help you. But this is also because some people do not know that the evil you know is better than the evil you don't know. The truth is that those who have gone to complain, they have legitimate right because they are tired, they're being killed. No justice, no fairness. It's just that the Christians probably have gone to cry out. The Muslims who have usually very docile in terms of raising, their own genocide and their own injustice. If you kill 200 Muslims, they will quickly bury them, and nobody knows the data. Nobody knows who and who has been killed, and they move on with their life. If you kill 10 Christians, it is a global news. So who do you blame? You should also blame the Muslims who are unable to cry out against also the injustice they face in the country. As it is now, the whole world beats wrongly or rightly. It's only Christians that suffer victimization in Nigeria. But those who are living in Nigeria, they know that that is not correct. But why is it that the Muslims did not also cry out when they are facing the same or worse than injustice and victimization? So you don't blame the Christians who have gone out because they have lost confidence in the administrative justice system. You cannot be killing people and then you are now rewarded with the all sorts of privileges. The communities that you kill, you have not compensated them. Now you have brought a fraudulent policy called the radicalization. You brought in people who have killed people, injured people, destroyed communities, and then you now compensate them with money, with the clothes, with everything. Then the communities that suffer this attack, you abandon them. How do you think they will not cry out? So that's just the reality. It is the failure of justice and the justice system in the country that made some people to go out and cry, hoping that help will come from outside.
Okay. Apart from villagers telling us they've seen, large movements of terrorists, telling us that the missiles fell into their farm, what other information are you hearing? Did you hear of casualties? Because we have not heard number of terrorists killed or number of innocent villagers killed. Are you here? Did you hear anything different from what we heard? What is being reported?
That is why Nigeria is not in charge of this. Because if Nigeria is in charge of this, they will have told us that we have the joint operation between Nigeria and US have attacked so places and have killed these targeted bandits. But we did not hear anything coming from Nigeria. Probably it is America that will break that news. And that is why we say Nigeria is not in any joint operation and has no ownership on this fight. Secondly, if Nigeria, as they claim, they have carried out this joint operation, why is it that they have misled America to go and drop bomb in a farm in a place where the so-called terrorists are not there? Why is it that Nigeria did not station its own army so that by the time the US strike is forcing the terrorists to move out, they would have been able to, arrest them or attack them or eliminate them? We do not see that. So that's why we strongly still stand on our position that this is a purely an American operation, not a joint operation with the Nigerian government, because there's no ownership between for Nigeria on this thing. Because why is it that the people say that the Syrian terrorists moving? Why is it that Nigeria did not go after them? America did not come with soldiers. They sent, missile. There's no human being inside that missile. It's program, it's a computer. So you that you have soldier on the ground, why don't you reimpose that action with their own soldiers? So it's a very laughable matter, and it calls for serious concern and reflection. But they don't want to hear the truth. Me and you, we are all at risk now as I speak to you, because anybody who speaks the truth is under attack by those overzealous and patriotic, public officials.
Okay. Talking about our broader image and our stand in Africa, has this single U.S. strikes undermined, our leadership in Africa? How will other African countries view us? How will they view the giant of Africa being suppressed by a U.S. strike?
Then make mistake, you've already lost that respect in the global nation. Any country that a foreign country will now come and take over its own security and theirs, that country has already lost its own respect. So we have suffered that, lost. Nigeria was known for its contribution to the global peace. And that's why we have been asking this question. Why, if you know that these terrorists overwhelm you, you are a member of the United Nations, you contribute soldiers and police to the United Nations discipline. You are a member of African Union, you contribute soldiers and other security to the African Union standby force. You are a member of the cause, you contribute soldiers and other security to the standby force in the cause. Why can't you get help from these legitimate organizations that you are known, you are a member, until you are overwhelmed? Somebody has come to take over your own, support pride. Because the pride of any nation is its ability to defend itself and its territorial integrity and its people. And you naked that. You don't want to be told the truth. So, like I said, in the past, attempts to come and station foreign soldiers were resisted. But today, you cannot guarantee that the current leadership can resist that. They cannot even resist it. Otherwise, we will not even reach where we are.
All right. As we wind down, what should the civil society organizations be doing, and what should Nigerians also be doing in the face of this threat? Because the strikes will come, our military is already undermined, and the implication on our security is great. So, what should civil society and Nigerians be doing at this time to prevent, an escalation of the strike?
So, civil society, over 100 civil society organizations have just sent a petition on their strike. And the petition that was signed by over 100 organizations have come up with the fact that Nigeria must carry out a very transparent investigation into this whole situation, and it groups the citizens that have suffered loss of properties or possible life must also be compensated. And I think the main thing in the position that civil society has mentioned is the fact that why is the president? Why is the president? And they also expressed great concern and outrage over this strike in Nigerian territory, certain disturbing silence and the absence of responsibility from the country political and military leadership. This is what civil society have come up with in their position. And like I said, over 100 civil society organizations from the north, south, Muslim institutions came together to express this concern. This statement was circulated all over the country, and the international community have also, been served with this position that civil society organization have come up with.
Okay, let me ask you before we go. Why is it that we have become more docile, more quiet in the past 2 years? So many things have happened, and Nigerians have been mute. First is the U.S. strike on our land. Second is the tax law that has already been tampered with, and the government is saying there is no going back. 1st of January the implementation will begin, and everybody is being quiet. This is not the Nigerians that we know. What exactly is happening to us?
Well, I think Nigerians are probably not suffer sufficiently enough. Maybe when Nigerians really suffer enough, they can speak, they can come out and express their concern.
How much more suffering should they get before they begin to speak louder?
Yes, I think Nigerians probably need to suffer more to be able to receive some of these draconian, unfair and inhuman policies and programs and corruption that is going on in the country. So maybe when Nigerians suffer sufficiently enough, they can speak out against it.
All right. Awal Musarraf Senjani, Executive Director, Civil Society Legislative Advocacy Center. CISLAC, it's great talking to you this morning.
Thank you very much. You're welcome.
All right. And that's the much we can take on the show.